Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
We're going to begin, of course, with our top story, the protests escalating at college campuses nationwide overnight. Violent clashes unfolded at UCLA between two protest groups and then police stepping in. At Columbia, the NYPD clearing the building and encampment occupied by pro-Palestinian protesters. This all comes with College Decision Day on the line for high school seniors this morning. Yes, May 1st. Trevor Ault is standing by there at UCLA, but first, Stephanie Ramos starts us off at Columbia. Stephanie, you were there last night and you're there again for us this morning. Good morning to you.
That's right, Robin. Good morning. We were standing right here late last night as more than 100 police officers descended on Columbia University. Police clearing Hamilton Hall, which is right behind us, a building with a history of student takeovers.
Overnight, hundreds of New York City police officers in riot gear moving into Columbia University. SWAT teams rolling in. One by one, police officers seen filing in on an extended ramp into the second floor of Columbia's Hamilton Hall. In the late night hours, police forming a line around the perimeter, clearing protesters blocking the entrance. Once inside, going floor by floor, room by room. NYPD using flashbangs. At least 100 people arrested, led away, hands tied behind their backs with zip ties, and loaded onto a police bus. The university president allowing the NYPD to move in, saying the group who broke into the building includes students, but led by individuals who are not affiliated with the university, and that the administration was left with no choice.
They're not here to promote peace or unity or allow a peaceful displaying of one's voice, but they're here to create discord and divisiveness.
Almost 24 hours earlier, protesters marching from the encampment to Hamilton Hall, smashing through doors, throwing furniture. Zip tying doors shut and barricading themselves inside, putting up a banner renaming the building Hind's Hall in honor of 6-year-old Hind Rajab, a Palestinian girl killed in the war in Gaza earlier this year. This morning, Columbia sharing these videos with us, showing classrooms ransacked, the encampment cleared.
What were your thoughts about those student demonstrators that pitched tents and set up that encampment, demanding that the university divest from companies profiting from Israel? What are your thoughts on that?
So the students believe passionately in this cause, and they're willing to break all the rules and risk sanctions to draw attention to the genocide in Gaza, and they are willing to come out here even though the university is punishing them for doing so.
As for those individuals taken into custody last night, many are still being processed this morning. Columbia University sending out a notice overnight saying only students who live on campus and those who provide essential services will be allowed in at this time, Robin.
That is so important. Stephanie, thank you so much for your reporting. We're going to go to Trevor Ault now on the scene at UCLA. The situation on that campus escalating overnight. Good morning to you, Trevor.
Good morning, Robin. So it had already been very tense here at UCLA for several days, but this was a very aggressive turn overnight. I mean, look at the law enforcement presence that is here this morning. We're talking about hundreds of officers. In the distance there is the pro-Palestinian encampment. And what you're going to notice is you see all these law enforcement officers. We have the barricades here that they just put up a couple moments ago. All the officers are facing out because they don't want any more demonstrators to make their way in. We saw several hours of violent clashes. There were points where some pro-Israeli demonstrators surrounded some portions of the encampment. There were multiple instances where fireworks were tossed into the encampment overnight, and we saw people on both sides using plywood boards, using batons, even these kinds of barriers to attack one another, to the point that UCLA officials referred to this as horrific violence. They called in law enforcement to try to restore some kind of order and safety, but these kinds of clashes continued late into the night. UCLA, among a number of campuses, has had one of the more prominent pro-Israeli demonstrations. Over the weekend, they had thousands of people there for a counter-protest. There were some instances then of people breaking through barricades for at least a few violent clashes, but what we saw overnight here was absolutely a significant escalation in the conflict here between these two groups. George?
No question about it, Trevor. We're going to get the latest now on Donald Trump's criminal trial in Manhattan. The judge held the former president in contempt for violating a gag order, warned him he could be risking jail time if he did it again. as an attorney for porn star Stormy Daniels took the stand. Aaron Katersky is at the courthouse. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, George. The trial does not sit on Wednesdays. Donald Trump's supposed to be out campaigning today. Prosecutors and the judge will no doubt be listening because Trump's statements outside of court have already convinced the judge to hold Trump in contempt. Donald Trump now has until Friday to pay a $9,000 fine for repeated violations of the gag order. The judge said Trump's social media posts attacked the credibility of arguably two of the more high-profile witnesses in this case, Trump's former fixer Michael Cohen and adult film actress Stormy Daniels. The $130,000 hush payment to Daniels at the heart of the criminal case was so secretive, her lawyer Keith Davidson testified he used pseudonyms. He called Daniels Peggy Pearson and Donald Trump David Dennison. After all, Davidson testified, it was my understanding that Mr. Trump was the beneficiary of this contract. Trump denies it, but Daniels claimed the two had a sexual encounter. Davidson told the jury what he told GMA in 2019, that Trump sought to silence Daniels weeks before the 2016 election.
And when you're a star, they let you do it.
When Trump was heard on a videotape boasting of grabbing women.
The Access Hollywood tape was the motivating factor in this case actually resolving. It defeats the argument that this was done for a purely personal reason to protect Mr. Trump or his family, and that this was in fact done for political reasons.
So far as I'm aware, it had tremendous influence, Davidson testified. It wasn't until Access Hollywood that interest sort of reached a crescendo. Prosecutors showed the jury clips of Trump in 2016 talking about allegations against him made by women and their effect on his campaign.
Every woman lied when they came forward to hurt my campaign.
If 5% of the people think it's true, and maybe 10% think we don't win.
Trump's fixer, Michael Cohen, arranged the hush payment with Davidson, who called Cohen a jerk and sort of a pants-on-fire kind of guy. He said Cohen kept failing to wire the money. I thought he was trying to kick the can down the road until after the election, Davidson testified. Eventually, Cohen paid, and when Trump reimbursed him, prosecutors said Trump falsified business records to disguise it, so voters wouldn't find out. There's another hearing here tomorrow about additional gag order violations. George, the judge's order made clear he'd throw Trump in jail if necessary. George.
Aaron Katersky, thanks. Latest now on abortion rights as the 6-week ban on the procedure takes effect in Florida today. The Biden administration is blaming Donald Trump, with Vice President Kamala Harris heading to Florida. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has the story. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. Well, the Biden campaign is eager to put the issue of abortion front and center in this campaign, and today sending the Vice President Kamala Harris, their chief messenger on this, down to Florida to mark the state's new 6-week ban going into effect. That's before many women even know they are pregnant, and she will blame Donald Trump directly for this as he brags about overturning Roe. She will also call him out for his recent comments. Trump telling Time magazine that he would not stand in the way if states want to monitor women's pregnancies or punish those who violate abortion bans. President Biden calling that shocking and reprehensible, saying in a video this morning, quote, there seems to be no limit to how invasive Trump would let the state be. Now, all eyes today will also be on Arizona. The state Senate there expected to repeal that Civil War era ban on abortion, returning the state to a 15-week ban. Now, overall, Donald Trump has really avoided taking specific positions on the issue of abortion, deferring instead to the states, which he says are handling this issue brilliantly, while the Biden campaign is hoping all of this will drive voters to the polls for them in November. Gio.
A major issue, to be sure. All right, Mary, thank you so much. And the Biden administration this morning has taken the first step to reclassify marijuana as less dangerous, moving it from a Schedule I drug. Elizabeth Schulze joins us now with more on this. And Elizabeth, this would mark an historic shift.
It would, Gio. Good morning. This would significantly ease federal restrictions on marijuana. The Biden administration is planning to reclassify it as a less dangerous drug. Since 1970, marijuana has been designated as a Schedule I drug alongside substances like LSD and heroin. Now the Justice Department is proposing moving it to Schedule III. That's the same category as ketamine, steroids, or Tylenol with codeine. Now this change still needs to go through a months-long review. It would not legalize marijuana nationally, but it would drastically broaden access to the drug for medical and research purposes. 38 states have already legalized medical marijuana, while 24 states allow it for recreational use. President Biden first called for this review of the reclassification in 2022. He has pardoned thousands of people convicted of federal offenses for simple marijuana possession. The White House knows that this is an issue that could help win over the support of Americans, especially younger voters, ahead of the election. George.
Okay, Elizabeth, now to the drama on Capitol Hill. House Speaker Mike Johnson faces a possible attempt to oust him by right-wing firebrand Marjorie Taylor Greene, but Democrats are prepared to save his job. Senior congressional correspondent Rachel Scott has the latest. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, George, good morning to you. Yeah, this is a striking move. Democratic leadership announcing that they would save the Republican Speaker of the House if it comes down to it. House Speaker Mike Johnson has been under threat from only a handful of far-right members of his own party for weeks now. They are being led by Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is outraged that Johnson reached across the aisle to work with Democrats to keep the government funded, to pass that much-needed aid to Ukraine, calling it all a betrayal. Any single lawmaker can try to force a vote to oust the Speaker of the House. But to be clear, the vast majority of Republicans do not agree with this push. They call it a distraction and a sideshow. Even former President Donald Trump acknowledging some support for House Speaker Mike Johnson, saying that he's a good person, acknowledging that he has a razor-thin majority. The bottom line here is that Greene can move forward at any point. She is expected to speak here on Capitol Hill in just a few hours. But that support from Democrats all but ensures that Johnson's job is safer now, Gio.
All right, Rachel, thank you for your reporting there on the Hill. And now to the investigation after boaters were caught on camera dumping trash into the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Florida. You've got to see this video. Victor Oquendo is in Miami now with that story. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Gio. This video making the rounds on social media is infuriating, but Florida Fish and Wildlife tells us they've already identified those involved and are now sorting out charges. This morning, the video sparking outrage and prompting an investigation by state law enforcement. Florida Fish and Wildlife officials telling ABC News they've identified this group of young boaters. Watch as they dump trash right into South Florida waters.
We know where the violation occurred. It's just a matter of following through and applying the appropriate charges now.
It happened off the coast of Boca Raton over the weekend. The video showing the group boating in large swells, dumping 2 garbage cans full of trash in the ocean, even appearing to celebrate. Drone video capturing the debris floating on top of the water.
We're upset. Our job is to protect Florida's resources.
The owner of the company that shot the video and recorded the illegal act, Wavy Boats, telling ABC News they spotted the boat leaving an event called Boca Bash. They filmed this boat full of minors engaged in underage drinking and eventually dumping all their trash into the ocean. The police were notified immediately, then allegedly rejoining the party. Florida Fish and Wildlife telling us that actions like these harm not only the environment, but the livelihoods of the local community.
Oh, it's littering. It's polluting the environment. It can cause significant damage to our marine resources. There's several levels of violations here.
No arrests have been made. Depending on the charges, they could be facing civil penalties, fines, even jail time. Robin?
That video is something else, Victor. Thank you. Now we have a game changer when it comes to screening for breast cancer. With newly released guidance, our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Jennifer Ashton, is here with the details. So the big guidance here, dropping the age.
Yeah, and of course, sure to get a lot of attention on this. Let me take you through the newest recommendations set forth by the U.S. Preventive Service Task Force. Age is the big one. This is for average risk women. They recommend starting mammogram screening at age 40 to screen every 2 years until age 74. Very important to note, screening for high-risk women is different. These recommendations pertain to the average risk woman. That key word, average, is the issue because the majority of women are in fact considered average until the day they get their diagnosis.
And there's a reason why this is the right time.
Right, and in order to appreciate that, you need some historical perspective. Back in 2009, the U.S. Preventive Service Task Force made big news with a lot of controversy because they dialed the age up from 40 to 50. Now they're seeing an increase in breast cancer rates, particularly in women in their 40s. So that's part of the reason they're moving that age back down to 40. But oncologists, radiologists, OBGYNs still kind of weighing in on the issue of every 2 years, and is that frequency too spaced out? So we haven't heard the end of the controversy.
This is in your wheelhouse, once again. I know there is so much more to discuss on this, so we're going to bring you back. 8 o'clock hour?
See you again in the 8 o'clock hour.
Okay, thank you, because there's some conflicting things here going on. All right, thank you, Jen.
Such important information here. And coming up here for the first time, Prince William is opening up about how his wife, Princess Kate, is doing after her cancer diagnosis.
Plus, the new alert about grandparent scams. The FBI warning some seniors are losing their life savings.
And more from my exclusive interview with Brittany Griner. What she says made her feel like less than human. But first, let's go to Ginger. Good morning, Ginger.
Hey, good morning to you, Robin. It's been more than a decade since we've seen as many tornadoes as we have in the month of April, this April. And unfortunately, April ended with another deadly tornado. This one in Westmoreland, Kansas. You can see that debris flying. You can see where it ropes out and kind of matures. Unfortunately, considerable damage there. And that was one of 13 reported as we ended the month of April. And unfortunately, we will do it again today. The area is larger. There are plenty of populations in there. We've got Oklahoma City down to Dallas-Fort Worth. They'll get it late, like after midnight to 2 a.m., but the earlier stuff happens west. So Woodward, Oklahoma, Dodge City, Kansas, down to San Angelo, you're in that elevated risk. It is not just for the tornadoes, but also the giant hail, which we also saw plenty of, baseball to softball size yesterday. And just to place it all, we are now second most tornadoes on record as of April.
And our team in Iceland with a dream assignment, and they can help you book a real vacation. We'll be right back.
We've got the exclusive view behind the table. Every day, right after the show, while the topics are still hot, the ladies go deeper into the moments that make the View the View. The Views Behind the Table podcast. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, I'm Andy Mitchell, a New York Times bestselling author.
And I'm Sabrina Kohlberg, a morning television producer. We're moms of toddlers and best friends of 20 years.
And we both love to talk about being parents, yes, but also pop culture.
So we're combining our two interests by talking to celebrities, writers, and fellow scholars of TV and movies.
Cinema, really.
About what we all can learn from the fictional moms we love to watch.
From ABC Audio and Good Morning America, Pop Culture Moms is out now wherever you listen to podcasts.
Oh, back here on GMA, we cannot wait for more from our lucky team there in Iceland with tips to cross that country off your bucket list without breaking the bank.
Looking forward to that. First, top headlines are falling right now, including the significant escalation overnight at UCLA. There were violent clashes between competing groups of protests on campus. And at Columbia, the university president allowed the NYPD to move in, saying the group who broke into the building includes students, but was led by individuals who are not affiliated with the university, and that the administration was left with no choice. This all comes with College Decision Day on the line for high school seniors this morning. Also right now, Tyson Foods is accused of dumping 371 million pounds of pollutants into waterways in at least 3 states. That is enough pollutants to fill 132,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Tyson has not yet responded. Plus, Federal Reserve is set to announce its latest interest rate decision this afternoon. Analysts expect the Fed to hold rates steady yet again, as stubbornly high inflation has not yet met the goals to begin reducing rates.
And it was a dramatic night down the street over at Madison Square Garden. You were watching, Robin. The Knicks were up by 6 points with less than 25 seconds left against Philly when Tyrese Maxey scored 7 points in the final seconds, sending the game into overtime. The Sixers would go on to win it 112 to 106, forcing a Game 6 in Philly.
We'll go to 6 games. That's okay.
All right. You like that. You like that. Yeah. With your good arm. You'll be rooting it on. And we've got a lot more ahead here, including an explosion in schemes targeting the elderly, an important story, and that's coming up, George.
It is, but now to our ABC News exclusive Robin's interview with WNBA star Brittany Griner. She sat down for the first time since she was released from that prisoner swap in Russia.
And George, it all started, remember, February of 2022. She was on her way back to Russia to finish what was going to be her last basketball season there in Russia. And she talks about the mistakes she made that changed her life. Brittany has been home for more than a year, but she's finally ready to tell her story, an experience that she says often made her feel less than human. This morning, WNBA star Brittany Griner detailing her arrest and nearly 10-month detainment in Russia in her new book, Coming Home, telling us exclusively about that fateful day. You said the whole day felt strange. How?
I was late getting up, never late getting up.
Finally got up, literally running around the house. I'm stressing. Like, I go into straight panic mode.
Brittany says her wife, Sherelle, usually packed for her, but this time she did it herself.
My packing at that moment was just throwing all my stuff in there and zipping it up and saying, okay, I'm ready.
At the Moscow airport, this is Russian Customs Service footage of Brittany Griner putting her carry-on bags through the scanner, unaware that life as she knows it is about to end, as the agent tells her to search her backpack. So you reached down, because you've been told to go through your bag.
Yep.
And you felt
the cartridge.
Yep.
The agent stared as I slowly lifted out a cartridge with cannabis oil. In Arizona, cannabis is legal. In Russia, it's forbidden. I knew that, honest to God. I just totally forgot the pen was in my bag. In the midst of them going through, my bags, there's 2 cartridges. And I'm just like, oh my God, how did I make this mistake? How was I this absent-minded, and made this huge mistake? Like, I could just visualize everything I worked so hard for just crumbling and going away.
Russian authorities determined that between the 2 cartridges is actually 0.7 grams of cannabis oil containing THC, the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. Do you know there are those who say, come on, how did you not know that you had cartridges in your luggage? What do you say to the skeptics?
I would say, have you ever forgot your keys in your car, left your car running? Have you ever, where's my glasses? They're on top of your head. Where's my phone? Oh, it's in my pocket. It's just so easy to have a mental lapse, Granted, my mental lapse was on a more grand scale, but it doesn't take away from how that can happen.
The agents take her passport, boarding pass, ask her to sign a form written in Russian that she says she can't read, and she is left to wait. You said that you felt that you let down yourself, your family, your teams.
Yeah.
So how did you work through that, what you called this guilt that you were feeling?
I don't think I really gotten through all the way. At the end of the day, it's my fault, and I let everybody down.
Brittany is transferred to Correctional Colony Number 1, or IK1 as it's known. She is now a prisoner. What were the conditions like in that particular jail?
The mattress had a huge blood stain on it, and they give you these thin 2 sheets, so you're basically laying on bars. From middle of my shin to my feet, stuck through the bars, which in prison, you don't really want to stick your leg and arm through bars, because someone go up and grab it, break it, twist it, and that's what was going through my mind.
You were only allowed 1 roll of toilet paper that had to last you a month.
There was like 2-3 months where we didn't get anything.
And the toothpaste had expired, what, 15 years?
It was like 15 years ago. That toothpaste was expired. We used to put it on the black mold to kill the mold on the walls.
For Brittany, her one silver lining, her cellmate, Alana.
Everyone knew the American, that was my title, or the basketball player, that was also my title. So Alana literally would translate everything. I wouldn't have made it without Alana.
134 days into her detainment, Brittany Griner goes on trial in Khimki, Russia.
I had no intent to break any Russian laws. I made an honest mistake, and I hope that in your ruling, that it doesn't end my life here.
This is the moment she learned her sentence.
9
years in a Russian labor camp. And where you're heading to, it's called IK2?
IK2.
Known as one of the worst prisons in Russia.
Yeah.
What were the conditions like there?
Really cold. It's a work camp. You go there to work. There's no rest.
Yes.
Here is video released by Russian authorities of Brittany at her prison job, cutting fabric for military uniforms.
So I'm picking up these big beams of fleece and cotton and silk, You put it on this machine and you roll it out 100 times. Clamp it, cut it.
The frigid temperatures affecting her health and also her hair. People knew you for so long with the dreadlocks.
Yeah.
You decided to cut them. What was that like, losing that part of you too?
Honestly, it just had to happen. We had spiders above my bed, making nests. My dreads started to freeze. They would just stay wet and cold, and I was getting sick. You gotta do what you gotta do to survive.
Brittany says so much of her experience was dehumanizing, including the way the prison guards treated her. She gets into much, much more of that on our special tonight and in her book, Coming Home, which is out on Tuesday.
You mentioned her roommate, who is also her translator. Did Brittany speak any Russian?
9. That's 9. She learned how to count from 1 to 10 because that was going to be her prison sentence.
Oh, wow.
And she wanted to be able to understand right away. So when she heard that, she knew that it was 9. But Alana, oh my goodness, the way she talks about her and a couple of others who understood English and really helped her navigate what was going on. And you're going to hear so much more on the special tonight about that experience, the entire 10-month ordeal. The full primetime interview with Brittany Griner runs on a special edition of 2020 tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, and then later you can catch it on Hulu.
We are looking forward to that. Coming up here, the FBI is warning some seniors are losing their life savings. We're going to tell you about the new alert about grandparent scams. We are back with a new alert about grandparent scams. 16 people arrested for scams targeting the elderly. FBI is warning some seniors are losing their life savings. Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas is in Washington with the details. Good morning, Pierre.
George, good morning. There's no comforting way to put this. The FBI says seniors are increasingly the targets of a multi-million-dollar black market of scams hunting their life savings.
This morning, that disturbing video of a senior fatally shooting an unsuspecting Uber driver who he allegedly believed was part of a scam, evidence of an explosion in schemes targeting the elderly. The FBI calling such scams an epidemic, warning that many senior citizens are having their entire life savings drained. Scammers so brazen they often post photos of themselves waving their stolen cash. The elderly losing a stunning $3.4 billion to scams in 2023, $300 million more than the previous year.
We went to the bank, got the money.
This FBI public service announcement featuring real victims.
And then she took off.
Just yesterday, DOJ charging 16 suspects in the Dominican Republic and the U.S. with a so-called grandparent scam, stealing millions of dollars from hundreds of victims. Here's how it worked. An opener, someone pretending to be a distressed grandchild, calling their grandparents, claiming they needed thousands of dollars because they'd been in a car accident where a pregnant woman had been injured, causing a miscarriage. Then a closer would call, posing as a defense attorney or a court official to convince the panicked grandparent to pay. Scammers in the Dominican Republic would even recruit couriers here in the U.S. to collect the money from victims' homes, or the elderly were told to mail the cash.
They're susceptible. They're not as familiar with technology as younger people, and therefore they're most likely to be impacted by this type of fraud.
The FBI says don't be embarrassed. Report it if you think you've been the victim of fraud. And here are a few tips so seniors can avoid being victimized. Destroy old bank statements and credit card receipts. Be extremely cautious of unsolicited phone calls, mailings, and door-to-door offers. And whatever you do, do not give out your personal information unless you know exactly who you're dealing with. And do not pay in advance for services. Guys?
Those are great suggestions for not just seniors, but for all of us. Hey, Pierre, thank you so much for that reporting. So important. Coming up later, more on the new breast cancer screening guidance and why it can help save many lives. And next, it is our play of the day. Come on back.
And we've been buzzing a lot this week with our play of the day, and now we have a story that has us buzzing all over again, right, Lara?
Yeah, and my first line, I apologize already because I was going to say, talk about a buzz kill. Yeah, on the baseball diamond in Arizona. It happened just as the Diamondbacks were about to play the LA Dodgers when a delay of game was called thanks to a massive swarm of bees. There it is. The game was delayed nearly 2 hours after a bee colony decided home plate would be their home sweet home. Swarming at the top of that protective netting, the announcer asking fans to please be patient. while they played the Beatles song Let It Be. Yeah, it happened. The puns were plentiful there. Finally, it was the beekeeper to the rescue. Matt Hilton of Blue Sky Pet Control in Phoenix, named MVP of the game by the crowd, chanting MVP while the stadium played I Need a Hero. He somehow got that colony to buzz off. Hilton even got to throw out the first pitch. I know, George, apologies. He did relish his newfound stardom, though. Look at him there. Look at him there. Pure rock star. Thank you, Matt Hilton, for saving that.
MVP or MVB?
Well done.
Yes.
There you go, my friend. Thank you, George.
Coming up, Ashan Singh is live from Iceland with tips across the country off your bucket list without breaking the bank. Hey, Ashan.
That's right, George. We are in Iceland, and I am teaching you guys how to ball on a budget in the land of fire and ice, like these incredible Icelandic sweaters that everyone seems to be wearing, which I got for less than half the retail price. We're coming to you guys soon.
Step into the world of Hollywood like never before with Melissa Rivers' Group Text podcast. Melissa, renowned for her red carpet expertise and storytelling prowess, invites you to join her and her famous friends for hilarious and heartfelt conversations. From discussing the latest binge-worthy TV shows, navigating the highs and lows of life, and dissecting celebrity fashion, there is never a dull moment. With exclusive stories from special guests like Chelsea Handler, Cheryl Hines, your favorite reality stars, and deep dives into intriguing topics like the Where is Wendy Williams documentary, this podcast offers an insider's look into the glitz and glam of Tinseltown. It's not just Melissa's podcast. It's a collective experience where you're invited to join the conversation. So, if you've ever wanted a peek behind the Hollywood curtain, subscribe to Melissa Rivers' Group Text podcast, now on your favorite platform. Get ready for laughter, tears, gossip. In other words, unforgettable moments that'll keep you coming back for more. Don't miss out. This is one group text you won't want to exit.
The first ever criminal trial of a former president is underway in Manhattan. It's one of potentially 4 trials facing former President Trump as he makes his third bid for the White House. What do voters think about his culpability, and would a guilty verdict make a difference in the election? I'm Galen Druk, and every Monday and Thursday on the 538 Politics podcast, we break down the latest news from the campaign trail. We sort through the noise and zoom in on what really matters, using data and research as we go. That's 538 Politics every Monday and Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts.
We start with the protests escalating at college campuses nationwide. Overnight, there were violent clashes. They unfolded at UCLA between 2 protest groups, and at Columbia, the New York police cleared the building and encampment occupied by pro-Palestinian protesters. This all comes with College Decision Day on the line for high school seniors. Let's go back to Stephanie Ramos at Columbia. Good morning, Stephanie.
George, good morning. We were here last night as New York City officers and the New York City mayor advised student demonstrators to leave Columbia University, the campus, entirely. The mayor even telling the parents of student protesters that they should call their student and tell them to leave the campus for their own safety. Hours later is when we witnessed hundreds of New York City police officers in riot gear move into Columbia University. We watched as a SWAT team rolled in one by one. Police officers seen filing in on an extended ramp into the second floor of Columbia's Hamilton Hall. Police forming a line around the perimeter, clearing protesters, blocking the entrance. Once inside Hamilton Hall, officers, we could see them going floor by floor, room by room. At least 100 people were arrested and loaded onto a police bus. The university president making that authorization, authorizing the NYPD to move in, saying the group who broke into the building included students, but led by individuals who are not affiliated with the university. And the administration also saying that they were left with no choice. This morning, the protests are over, the encampment is clear, and only students who live on campus and those who provide essential services will be allowed back on campus, George.
Okay, Stephanie Ramos, thanks. Let's go back to Trevor Alt at UCLA. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning again, George. So finally, as we get deeper into the morning, things are calming just a little bit, but this was several hours of chaos overnight with hundreds of police officers. You can see a lot of them here. They're much more calm now after they were able to separate the demonstrators, the protesters, and the counter-protesters. That was the main focus here, not necessarily clearing out the encampment, and that's because we saw a number of violent clashes that broke out overnight. We saw some pro-Israel counter-protesters surrounding parts of this encampment, to the point that on multiple instances we saw fireworks that were thrown into the encampment, and we saw demonstrators on both sides using plywood boards, using sticks and batons, even using some of these barricades here that are now separating them to attack one another. Now, we had been watching several days of tensions here on UCLA, but this is certainly a significant escalation, and you have to have some serious concerns about what may be coming. While people have gone home now, you worry about what's going to happen tonight, as UCLA officials have already talked about what happened overnight as horrific violence. Robin?
All right, Trevor, our thanks to you. We have more now with College Decision Day on the line for high school seniors this morning. Many factors being weighed by students and parents, including the protests coast to coast and the delays with financial aid. Elizabeth Schulze is back to break down the big picture for families. Good morning again, Elizabeth.
Good morning again, Robin. May 1st is typically decision day for high school seniors to decide where they're going to college. But this year, so many prospective students, as they're watching those protests play out, are also missing a critical piece of information, and that's their financial aid package. The government this year rolled out a new FAFSA form, which was intended to simplify the process of applying for aid, but instead has been riddled with delays and glitches. This has prevented many families from knowing exactly how they're going to pay for school at a time when we have seen tuition near 6 figures at some universities. So far, only about a third of seniors have completed their FAFSA. That's actually down 30% from this time last year. More than 200 colleges and universities have had to postpone their commitment deadlines past today to give students more time. The Education Department is now urging families to apply for aid so they do not leave money on the table as part of this incredibly important decision. Gio.
An important decision indeed. All right, thank you so much, Elizabeth. And we're going to turn now to Prince William's rare update on Princess Kate's health, the first since her cancer diagnosis was revealed. Maggie Rulli is at Kensington Palace for more on this. Good morning, Maggie.
Hey, Gio, good morning. Yeah, for the first time, Prince William opened up about his wife, Princess Kate's health. His candid comments came during a surprise walkabout yesterday in northern England when a well-wisher asked him how his wife and children were doing. Well, the prince replied, "We are all doing well, thank you," before he quickly moved on to another subject. Now, Kate shocked the world back in March with her cancer diagnosis. Since then, she's been keeping a low profile, calling for privacy as she goes through cancer treatment. Meanwhile, the king, who's also going through cancer treatment right now, appeared upbeat and relaxed as he returned to public duties just yesterday. As for Princess Kate, her return to public duties will only happen once her doctors advise her to do so. Guys?
We are still thinking of her, Maggie, as you know. Coming up on our GMA morning menu, the new guidance on breast cancer screening, why the change will help save lives. Dr. Ashton will be back with that.
Plus, how the American Exchange Project is connecting a divided country.
Also ahead here in Pop News, we are revealing who is on the cover of People's Beautiful issue, and Lara is upstairs. Hey, Lara.
Hey, you guys, it is May 1st, which means it's AANHPI Heritage Month. Tori Johnson is bringing us deals from AANHPI small businesses. We've got so many great deals, beautiful products, all for you. Plus, we're bringing the music and the dance of the Pacific Islands to you coming up on Good Morning America. Don't go anywhere.
And welcome back to GMA tomorrow. Brooke Shields going to be here live.
Yay.
She's talking about her new movie. And Rebecca, welcome. You're here with more on this new breast cancer screening guidelines.
So important, George. Guys, the GMA cover story now on breast cancer screening. The United States Preventative Services Task Force finalizing their recommendation that all women should begin receiving them by the time they hit 40.
This morning, the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force announcing their final recommendation on screening for breast cancer, suggesting all women with average risk begin screening with mammograms at the age of 40 and continue every other year until the age of 74.
The latest science clearly shows that by screening every other year beginning at age 40, that we can save even more lives. In fact, up to nearly 20% more lives can be saved from breast cancer.
Prior recommendations from the task force said women should start screening no later than age 50, but more women are being diagnosed with breast cancer at younger ages.
This national data showed that since from 2015 to 2019, there was an increase in breast cancer diagnoses in women ages 40 to 49. And in fact, it increased about 2% every year.
Olga Arcila says a mammogram at 45 saved her life.
They told me that I had breast cancer. I couldn't believe it. I am a very healthy person, very active, very positive.
Following a double mastectomy and 16 rounds of chemotherapy, she's now helping her Latin community stay informed about the importance of mammograms.
Very important to start at the age of 40, but if the cancer is in your family, you have to do it earlier.
So important. So we want to bring back ABC News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Jennifer Ashton to break this down. I'm so glad you're here. 240,000 women a year are getting breast cancer. Right. This is so important.
It's very important, and these headlines and these recommendations are always confusing and controversial because not every professional organization agrees. Part of the motivation with them changing the guidelines from 50 to 40 is because we've been watching rates of breast cancer, particularly in younger women, 40 to 49, go up about 2% every single year. And those women tend to have more aggressive types of breast cancer. So, for the historical context, it's important to remember that back in 2009, this very same group, the U.S. Preventive Service Task Force, changed the age and made it 50. Now, over that last period of time, we've been watching more cases, more aggressive cases, more deaths. That was the concern then. That's why people today are applauding this change. But there are still those people, and I am one of them medically, who thinks that screening a woman every 2 years is not the proper interval. So we haven't heard the end of it.
Well, and the recommendation is now also different from the American Cancer Societies. And as a patient, this is so confusing.
Yeah, it's confusing. And also remember that these recommendations pertain to women at average risk. The majority of women who are diagnosed with breast cancer were average until the day they get that diagnosis. So also remember that mammography is the gold standard. It is not perfect. It misses some breast cancers, particularly in young women with dense breasts. So ultrasound is often used. MRI is recommended for women at high risk. But the bottom line is you want to talk to your healthcare provider, and particularly women who are Black or afraid of getting screened or don't have the same access. This will hopefully save lives.
And I talked to my doctor. My mom is a breast cancer survivor. I did my first mammogram at 38 as a result.
That's right.
After that conversation.
It's usually 10 years younger than your first degree relative was diagnosed.
Dr. Jen Ashton, as always, thank you.
You bet.
Okay, over to you, Ginger, in Boston.
Thank you so much. Yes, rising and shining here in Boston with Chief Meteorologist of WCVB, Cindy Fitzgibbon. I'm so happy to be here.
It's great to be with you this morning.
Glorious way to start May.
It's familiar, right?
It was showery, but it's much nicer now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about rain, because you all, like so much of the Northeast, have been very wet.
We have had our share of rain. Already this year, we've had 20 inches. We are about 6 inches or so above average for the year. And we're hoping for not a repeat of last summer, which was the second wettest on record around here.
Unfortunately, we do have a summer outlook that's looking pretty wet, not just here in Boston, but much of the East Coast. You can see where that wetter than normal goes all the way down to Atlanta. If you want the drier than normal, you go New Mexico up to Montana. We have much more with Cindy coming up.
Looks like we have a prop-filled pop news.
We do. That's a tease, everybody. We're going to begin first, though, with a very big exclusive from People magazine and their annual Beautiful issue. We have the honor of revealing their cover choice. You guys ready?
Let's go. Yes. Let's see.
It is our friend Sofia Vergara gracing the cover of the annual issue. And in a revealing article inside the magazine, she explains what makes her feel beautiful at the age of 51 years young. She also shares her reason for her divorce from actor Joe Manganiello after 7 years. She says it was not wanting to have more kids. Take a look.
I was a mother already. I know what it means to be a good mother, or to try to be the best mother that you can, and that takes a lot of sacrifices, takes a lot of energy. I didn't think, because of my career, the way I live my life, and the way my marriage was, that it was fair to bring a kid to this world.
All right, Vergara has been photographed lately with Dr. Justin Salomon for the past few months. She will not confirm her dating status. She does admit to one new love in her life, though, a Chihuahua puppy named Amore. Yeah, there's little Amore with her on a second cover of People's The Beautiful issue. That's available in newsstands nationwide Friday, and you can see more at people.com. What
Beautiful
a great
inside
choice.
and out.
100%.
And on a roll with Griselda as well.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah, people are obsessed with that show. All right, we're going to move on right now to music news. Queen Bee has spent 10 weeks on top of the Billboard's Hot Country Song Chart with her smash hit, Texas Hold'em. I mean, it is a great song. And this morning, she has been dethroned by this song.
Here comes the 2 to the 3 to the 4. Tell them bring another round, we need plenty more. Two stepping on the table, she don't need a dance floor. Oh my, good Lord.
That's Shabuzi and his #1 hit, a bar song, Tipsy. It marks the first time that 2 black artists have topped the Hot Country chart back-to-back in the history of the charts. And these two are pals. Shabuzi actually appears on 2 tracks on Beyonce's recent album, Cowboy Carter, the song Spaghetti and also Sweet Honey Buckin'. He was one of the artists that experienced a Beyonce boost, if you will, after she entered her country era, getting a streaming bump from first-time listeners. Shabuzi telling Billboard magazine he's so happy to have such a powerhouse artist choose country. Shabuzi's own album, Where I've Been Isn't Where I'm Going, that will be out on May 31st. Take a listen. He's so talented. And then finally, George, thank you for teasing that special something. Here it is, something to satisfy the appetites of all the fashionistas and carb lovers out there. It's a new accessory courtesy of an unlikely source, Panera Bread. But it's true, the chain revealing their breadhead hat. Thank goodness it's here, just in time for the Kentucky Derby. Panera teamed up with Amore Studio for the already sold out creation. It was listed at $21 on the Panera website. It came with a gift card. We couldn't get one, but since we have the best props department in the business, Billy, bring it on out.
Come on, Billy.
They made one. They made a dupe for us.
Wow.
Look at this beauty.
Is that sourdough?
Look at that gorgeous gem. There you go. There you go. Anybody who doesn't have their hat yet for Derby, come on over. One important note, Panera says you cannot use this hat as a bread bowl. Thank you, Panera, for that PSA.
Disclaimer.
For that disclaimer. They also say that while they are currently sold out, they do plan to restock. So check the Panera website tomorrow. You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. You're gonna put that on. Okay, so since we're talking about bread, I need to get my steps in here because we're gonna go to a special Deals and Steals right now. Look at this. The Lay Pacifica dancers are here helping us kick off our celebration of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Great job, ladies. Let's go over here because Tori Johnson, you've got some AAN HPI small businesses to focus on.
I do, and we're starting with one of our favorites. This is Material Kitchen. You guys make high-performance kitchenware, and let me tell you, Oprah favorite, Good Housekeeping Award winner, 10,000 5-star reviews. Why is this so fabulous?
Well, I think it's the product design. Our best seller is this knife set, and it's crafted with Japanese steel, so it's razor sharp. Be careful.
Yes, not going to drop
It comes with a lifetime guarantee, so that means it's the last knife set you'll ever need to buy, because most kitchens only need these 3. And it's the perfect complement to our recycled plastic, BPA-free cutting boards. They're sustainable. They come in these amazing, fun colors. Chop, serve, pop them in the dishwasher.
How great is that?
I mean, amazing. And you know what's even greater than that, Gio? The prices. Because you guys have really hooked us up. Everything's 50% off today from Material Kitchen, starting at $12.50.
Ooh, we love that 50%.
Pretty fabulous. Pretty fabulous.
All right, thank you so much.
Speaking of something else that is pretty fabulous, Fly by Jing. So this is spicy, crunchy, deliciousness in a jar. And Jing was telling me that with these Asian condiments, you don't have to cook Asian food to enjoy the premium ingredients and flavor. We got a little taster there for you. But what makes them so fabulous?
That's right. So what you're tasting is our best-selling Sichuan chili crisp. It's a savory, crispy, spicy, all-natural.
How spicy is this going to get?
See, it's it's not off the chart spicy, right? What do you think so far?
Smoky.
Yes.
It's really smoky. It's really delicious.
Umami.
And sweet.
Yes, exactly. So it's designed to put on anything. So from eggs to pizza, pasta, salad, even ice cream. So
ice cream. Yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
It just elevates anything you put it on.
And now it's getting spicy.
So more than 8,000 stores carry this, from the giants to the gourmet grocers. Only we have the whole assortment at 50% off today, starting at $12.50%. So,
Awesome,
thank you.
delicious.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, Kin Flight. This was really all about being a working mom with small kids, back pain, tried everything, couldn't find the right solution. You decided to create it.
That's right. A bra is the most foundational staple we wear every day. Our posture sports bras are engineered to reduce stress on the shoulders and back to help you stand tall. We have the most size-inclusive line, up to a 7XL, and we support larger bust sizes, which are often the people who struggle with back pain.
And often neglected.
That's right.
I will vouch for these. You've got tops and bottoms, huge assortment that you'll find online, all slash and half, starting at $19.50. So it's an accessible price point too.
Awesome,
yes.
fantastic.
Okay. All right,
back
to the kitchen here.
Hi.
Any day cookware. Steph's got one of our favorites. So this is 100% plastic-free, microwave safe that you can do absolutely everything in, including, we got a little demo here.
That's right. So you can prep, cook, serve, store, and reheat all in these glass dishes that also double as very beautiful serveware.
But they're also pretty light, right? They kind of feel like plastic, but they're glass.
They're all glass, exactly. I just made these potatoes in 6 minutes in the microwave, and they are perfectly fork tender. Literally just gonna add some butter, some milk, and we've got perfect mashed potatoes. You can also make rice, chicken, pasta.
And what's awesome is you make it, prep it, serve it, go right out to the table, and if you happen to have any leftovers, put that lid back on right into the refrigerator. These are awesome. Entire set that we have, a variety of colors today, 50% off, $80.
Awesome. I've been
Can't
looking
beat
for some
that.
glass dishes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
How about, are you looking for the best cup of coffee anywhere? Because if so, we've got, Debbie's got it for you from Copper Cow Coffee, inspired by both your mom's love of Vietnamese coffee and your dad's love of the pour over.
Yes, so we make it easy for you to have a beautiful cup of coffee for anybody. And we do so by brewing actual herbs and spices into the coffee, like our churro coffee that has whole ground cinnamon in it, no artificial flavors. And it even comes in our single serve pour overs.
So that you can take this literally anywhere, travel, from your desk
getting on a plane today,
to your
you gotta
plane.
give me a few.
You got
This
it.
is delicious.
These start at $8. And then finally today, we've got Live Tinted, to me, some of the best skincare around.
Thank you. Do you wear SPF?
Absolutely.
You absolutely should be.
Okay.
This one goes on completely invisible. It makes
check
it
that
so
out.
easy to use on the go anywhere you're at.
That will be packed in your bag.
Absolutely.
This concealer's on both of our faces right now.
It's amazing because it's packed with skincare and it makes it so your dark circles go away over time.
Starts at $11.
Products. Use that QR code. We'll be right back here. Stick around.
Go all Aldi for trolley loads of offers every week. Like Irish slow-cooked barbecue pulled pork was $3.79, now $2.99. Specially selected hot curry sauces was $1.99, now 99 cents. 6 golden delicious apples was $1.59, now 79 cents. Buy all this week's Super 6 fresh meat and fish, fresh fruit and veg and Aldi Savers products. Instead of $44.22, you'll pay $34.42, saving $9.80. Follow the path to lower prices. Go all Aldi while stocks last.
We're going to turn now to our bucket list on a budget series. When planning a summer vacation, first question so many of us asks, what is this going to cost me? So we teamed up with the experts from the Points Guy to share ideas for dream vacations with tips to help you save money. And this morning, Ashin Singh is live from Iceland to tell you how he toured on the cheap. Good morning. It is beautiful there, Ashin. Tell us more.
Good morning, Rebecca. Just look where I am right now. We're here in Seljandafoss. It's one of the many incredible waterfalls here in Iceland, and pretty much everywhere you look in this country, it is absolutely gorgeous, and most of it is actually free. But this country is famously known for being pretty pricey for tourists. So we're gonna show you how to do Iceland on a budget. I'm talking food, excursions, souvenirs. We're gonna show you how to make this trip as affordable as it is memorable. When it comes to summer travel, one spot that belongs on everyone's bucket list, the land of fire and ice, Iceland. Go to Iceland. But if you're not careful, traveling to this popular spot could easily break the bank, unless you know what to look for.
Looking forward to this.
starting with finding the right flights for your summer visit.
Iceland is a tremendous deal from the Boston area in particular. Flights are only about 5 hours in each direction, so you could take just a long weekend there and still get an action-packed trip.
We found deals from my hometown of Boston for as low as $400. And if you're not the pickiest traveler and don't care where you sit on the plane, some tickets as low as $230.
And when it comes to hotels, here's a simple tip. Start spending now for your summer trip, specifically on credit cards from brands like Hilton or Marriott that once the spending threshold is reached, offer mega sign-up bonus points.
Our Hilton cards that offer anywhere from 130 to 180,000 points typically as part of their bonus, and that's going to be good enough for 2, maybe even 3 nights at some of these hotels in Reykjavik, and that could be your whole trip right there.
Once I touched down, I was ready to start my trip in style.
You think I'm gonna come all this way and not get one of these Icelandic wool sweaters? You're mistaken.
Local knits are quintessentially Iceland, but handmade sweaters can cost you as much as $500. But secondhand stores like Extra Lappin help you shop like a local and score sweaters like these for as low as $50.
Then we got a winner. Got lots more to do. Let's go.
Getting it all done is gonna take some horsepower. And I'm not talking Icelandic horses.
The best way to see this beautiful country? Getting a rental car.
We found deals from Alamo for as low as $86 a day. And with long, beautiful drives, you'll want your own ride instead of taxis or charters.
By the way, in Iceland, they swear by their hot dogs too.
Roadside hot dogs like these are a classic Icelandic lunch, just $4. But if you're feeling fancier, try nabbing deals on the Dine Out app, which for a small fee, offers dining discounts all over the country. This restaurant, they gave 15% off everything. But let's face it, you don't just go to Iceland to eat. Go for the adventure.
Does it actually live up to the hype?
Oh, for sure. Everyone needs to come here. It's awesome.
The waterfalls, the geysers, part of the heritage of this beautiful country.
And the best part of all, a lot of these places, free.
One of the most famous attractions here, the Blue Lagoon, a naturally heated seawater oasis that's perfect for Instagram selfies, but at a cost close to $350 for a family of 4. But hot springs are all around this country, and many like this one, called Reykjavik, are just free if you know where to walk.
And if you're up for a little bit of physical activity, the hike to get here was gorgeous. And this doesn't get any better.
One of the reasons so many people, myself included, have this special country on their bucket list.
Is it living up to the hype so far?
Yes, absolutely. It's breathtaking. I could not have imagined, because I was a little leery. She convinced me of it, and now being here and seeing this, just, it's epic. It
You
really
get
is.
it.
I get it.
Yeah, I agree.
Good morning, America! And guys, I am still thinking about that incredible hike off the beaten path and hanging in the hot springs. It is something that I will never forget. And I gotta say, after this trip, my wallet is feeling pretty good too.
That is so great. That's the best. And I know, Ashen, you have another tip for a way folks can make the most of the capital city, Reykjavik, and save a ton of money there as well.
That's right. Yeah, this Reykjavik city card is an absolute cheat code to getting around the city. Sorry, I'm holding it upside down here, but it is unreal. It lets you get into pools, museums, galleries, absolutely for free. And not to mention, if you're traveling alone or with family, it lets you take the bus around the city as well. Our team actually had a chance to go to a local art museum yesterday, and it was just incredible. And guys, you know I couldn't take this trip all the way without sending you back some gifts. We've got some very famous Icelandic black licorice for you at the studio today. It's delicious. Enjoy.
So are you dressed for your next trip in that sweater, or where are you headed next week?
Oh, we're headed to the Big Easy, New Orleans.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wonderful. Well, we can't wait to travel along with you, Ashen. Thank you so much. And if you want to shop a list of travel gear curated by the team from the Points Guy from Ashen's Iceland trip, you can head over to our website. How's the licorice, Gio?
It's good. I've never had licorice before. It's pretty
This
good.
is a first.
Never?
No, never.
Right here in GMA.
No good and plenty when you were growing up?
The shock of it all.
I like chocolate, George. I like chocolate.
Coming up, the program helping bridge the American divide, allowing recent graduates to experience a different reality, just like Gio's new reality with licorice.
And we're back now with a look at the American Exchange Project. It's a program on a mission to bridge the divide across the country by giving students an opportunity to visit places different from their hometown.
We all crave connection. We all need to know we belong.
Founded in 2019, the American Exchange Project says their mission is to connect the divided country by sending high school seniors in the summer after they graduate on a free week-long trip to a town radically different from their own.
It's about all of the diversity that is in America: political, cultural, socioeconomic, racial, ethnic. We live in a massive and diverse country, and unless we can learn to socialize and connect with people who are different from us, our democratic project is really going to be in trouble. We're seeing that manifest itself every day.
In 2022, 20-year-old Cornell Horner traveled from his home outside of Boston to Lemon, South Dakota, a town of roughly 1,000 people.
We had many activities from, going to a bison ranch and seeing how that process worked, to going to town fairs, to even being a part of the town fair. Going to a meat processing facility was really cool. It was something I would never do out here.
Last summer, 19-year-old Bryce Borders went from his hometown of 13,000 in Kilgore, Texas, to New York City.
I had this conception that New York was this really busy, grungy, dirty place full of really busy and grumpy people. And when I got there, it was very different from that. We got to meet a lot of very nice people, and despite living very busy lives, fast-paced lives, the people that I experienced wanted to give their time to get to know us.
Since the program began, the American Exchange Project has run trips to 75 towns across 35 states.
It's your chance to truly test your own political ideas and actually talk to people and humanize those said people. It's very easy to put people in boxes and not truly understand their totality, and I think the American Exchange Project gives you a chance to do that. It's also a chance to just get practice of going outside of your bubble that you grew up in and experience a different reality.
We're all the same despite our differences. We're all people. We all live very interesting lives, and that we can all learn from each other. I think this is one of the biggest ways that you can solve the current split in the country, is just by simply knowing each other better.
What a fantastic idea. Great to see it in action. Let's go back to Ginger in Boston.
Yeah.
Wild.
Hey, George. Yes, we are celebrating here. Boston, the town that I'm getting a little time in, with Chief Meteorologist Cindy Fitzgibbon here from WCVB. We're both meteorologists, so we know a lot about weather, but I'm not exactly the sports aficionado, so you've been schooling me. Let's go through. Catch me up on what's happening.
We need to win this game.
Okay.
If we do,
Celtics.
We're moving on.
Okay, Bruins.
Well, last night wasn't so great, but we're hoping for a win the next go-around, yes.
And finally, the Red Sox play tonight.
Yes, they do. And unfortunately, weather-wise, what you see is what you get. It's not going to warm up too much. But forecast for the game, looking okay. I mean, it's not going to rain, but it's just not going to be that warm. So you want to make sure you're dressed for it. Temperatures either side of 50 over the course of that game.
At least it's not windy.
At least it's not windy.
Great
and
news.
I have a gift for you, Ginger, okay?
Boston bringing
I
gifts.
know that your no new clothes pledge. So rather than getting you a new shirt, I am gifting you my Bruins shirt. And I'm hoping it's going to bring us luck.
I am going to wear it, and we're going to do our best with that because No New Clothes continues on. Thank you very much. That was so thoughtful. Welcome. This is my kind of gift.
Up next, GMA is boosting your business. It's a special event featuring some of the most exciting companies all in Atlanta. We'll have the story coming up on GMA. We're celebrating National Small Business Week with our series GMA's Boosting Your Business. And this morning, GMA lifestyle contributor Lori Bergamato is in Atlanta at a special event highlighting local entrepreneurs. Hey, good morning, Lori.
Hey, Lara, good morning to you. That's right, I'm here at the Experience Atlanta. Yes, where small businesses are getting ready for a busy day of showcasing their products. We're going to get to meet some of those talented people in just a moment. This segment is sponsored by Chase for Business, and their CEO, Ben Walter, is giving us an early look at this signature event. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Lori. Thank you for being here.
I'm so excited to be here. Tell us a little bit about what this event is.
Today is really a day all about small businesses all over Atlanta. It's a chance for them to invest. to invest in themselves. We're going to have some thought leadership here today to invest in their network. They'll get to meet up to 800 of their colleagues in their community, and really to invest in everything that's going on around their business and promote their businesses. You'll see them here later today, and we might even have a special local star coming later today.
Ooh, exciting. Are you guys excited? Okay, well, let's get to meet some of those incredible companies and businesses. We're going to start over here, Ben, and we're going to start with a company called Chocolato. Did I say that correct?
You got it.
Okay, and their co-founder, Elaine Reed. Elaine, tell us a little bit about how this company got started.
Well, in 2013, my husband and I quit our jobs. We packed up our small kids and moved to the jungles of Costa Rica. When we were there, we fell in love with the locally produced dark chocolate and knew that if we learned how to make this type of chocolate, Atlanta would love it.
Well, I'm sure Atlanta will love it. Ben, I got to taste the crackle and crunch earlier. It is delicious, and I'm definitely taking this with me.
Awesome.
I'm a sucker for salt, so that would be it for me.
Ooh, yeah, there's a lot of good sweet and salty. Thank you so much,
you.
Elaine. Okay, we're gonna move over here to the Dope Pieces Puzzle Company, love the name, and their CEO, Chris Hale. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
So tell us, what is the mission that drives your business?
Positive representation. We are committed to connecting people, art, and culture through the artwork of artists of color who positively represent the Black and brown diaspora.
I mean, these puzzles really, truly are artwork. They're amazing.
They are, thank you.
You're welcome.
They're beautiful, and they're so intricate.
Yes, definitely. We've got the 500 piece there, but these little guys are just for today, is that right?
They're just for today. Yes, we custom made them for you all.
Ooh,
I
custom
might have
here.
to take one home.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we're going to move on to our next company that's more than just skincare. We have owner and entrepreneur Sherry Dindal. Good morning. Tell us a little bit about Wholesome Hippie.
Good morning. Well, we're an all-natural, affordable beauty and wellness brand made with high-quality, clean ingredients that give your skin and your peace of mind a little TLC. And we have beauty regimens and wellness products that help with pain and stress and anxiety. And we try to make something for everybody in your family.
Well, I think for pain, stress, and anxiety, there's something for everybody, right?
I think we all have a little bit of that.
Yeah, and I feel like you had me at affordable and high quality. We love that. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
I can't
you.
wait to check this all out, right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and next up, this is a company that is dedicated to promoting diversity, something we can all get behind. Leah Hernandez, good morning.
Good morning.
She is the creator and CEO of Young Authors Publishing. Leah, tell us a little bit more about everything you have here. There's so much fun stuff to look at.
Yeah, so we're a traditional book publisher, and in fact, a lot of the picture books that you see here are actually written by young people. So we have authors as young as 8 that range all the way to 18, and our mission is to create a platform for diverse authors to share their stories.
I love that.
I mean, I feel so inadequate. I'm a bit older than 8, and I've never written a book.
There's hope for you,
There's hope.
Ben.
Yeah.
Don't worry. And I'm definitely taking this. Little Stella. My daughter's name is Stella. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is great. Well, Ben, everybody here was so great, such inspiring stories, and it's really great to meet some of the founders behind these brands. What do you hope that they got out of working with you?
We hope that they get the best for their business. It's really all about them. You meet people who start these businesses, they put their entire heart and soul into it, and that's why we're so proud to do this. We'll be doing it later this year in DC and in Philly, and we get to bring the best of these local small businesses communities into the community and share it around. And if you want your kid to get a job someday, support a small business, because that's the company that's going to hire them someday.
That's great. And we all want that, right? We all need to support these small businesses and these communities. So a huge thanks to you, Ben, and to all of our guests here today. For more information on upcoming events, go to our GMA Facebook and Instagram pages. Guys, thanks so much for having us. Back to you guys, Lara.
Thank you, Lori. Love supporting all those great small businesses. And we will be right back.
We're talking vacations, but it was a busy morning. We were thinking about it because we want to thank our team in Iceland for that bucket list on a budget.
And we also want to thank all of our fabulous AAN HPI small business owners. We have partnered with those companies on those deals and seals, so don't forget to check them out on goodmorningamerica.com.
And it's been so great to have Lay Pacifica with us this morning. The group provides workshops and classes that celebrate the culture for students of all levels. Let's go take a class together, Lara. Yeah. And these are just some of the students. Have a great day, everyone. Don't worry, Lara and I won't show you our class.
You don't want George and I dancing?
No, we do not need to see that. Gorgeous.
Have a great day, guys.
Step into the world of Hollywood like never before with Melissa Rivers' Group Text podcast. Melissa, renowned for her red carpet expertise and storytelling prowess, invites you to join her and her famous friends for hilarious and heartfelt conversations. From discussing the latest binge-worthy TV shows, navigating the highs and lows of life, and dissecting celebrity fashion, there is never a dull moment. With exclusive stories from special guests like Chelsea Handler, Cheryl Hines, your favorite reality stars, and deep dives into intriguing topics like the Where is Wendy Williams documentary, this podcast offers an insider's look into the glitz and glam of Tinseltown. It's not just Melissa's podcast. It's a collective experience where you're invited to join the conversation. So, if you've ever wanted a peek behind the Hollywood curtain, subscribe to Melissa Rivers' Group Text podcast, now on your favorite platform. Get ready for laughter, tears, gossip. In other words, unforgettable moments that'll keep you coming back for more. Don't miss out. This is one group text you won't want to exit.